Hey everybody. So today I'm going to talk about the purpose of having a LinkedIn account, the steps to create a LinkedIn account, and how you can utilize LinkedIn effectively for networking opportunities down the line with your career. When you're doing more job search or changing careers um, after your time at COD and beyond. So first, I wanted to draw your attention to the LinkedIn profile checklist. This is going to be in the assignment for the LinkedIn assignment in this week's folder. And this is a nice step-by-step guide that's going to tell you exactly what you need or some tips for creating your LinkedIn profile as a college student. So there's some nice sections in here. It's pretty easy to follow. So definitely always refer back to this guide if you forget what I say in the video, or you want more kind of just quick and easy step by step how to create your LinkedIn. So before I get into actually creating your LinkedIn, I wanted to talk about the purpose of networking and the purpose of having a LinkedIn account in the first place. Um, I remember when I was a college student, I used to think networking was this like thing that sketchy, sleazy business majors did to try to get ahead and like step on the little people and try to screw over everybody else and have their own self interest. Obviously, that was a pretty narrow minded view of networking. And as I've gotten older, I've come to realize that I personally use networking, not as much LinkedIn, but other ways of networking to help me in establishing my current career, finding new opportunities. And I've seen with my college friends, classmates, how they've used LinkedIn and use other networking tools to connect with people, like-minded people, establish businesses. So definitely, like, there is still some of that negative aspect of networking that people will a select few of people will follow, but for the most part, like any relationship, it's a give or take. You're helping each other out. You're helping your peers, your classmates, your friends. um, yeah, so I think definitely there's a lot of positives to LinkedIn. So now, first, to get started, you're gonna want to go to just LinkedIn.com and type that in. I'm logged in right now, so I'm not gonna show you what that looks like, but you're gonna create a new account. There'll be a button on the bottom that says create a new account. Um, So go ahead and do that. So create your new account. Make sure to use an email that is one, not your school email, because you eventually will lose access to your school email after you're not at COD anymore. And two is appropriate. I see some pretty crazy emails and resumes and stuff from students, and even from in interviews I've done. Like XXX or Big Booty Jones. Like, no, I'm exaggerating a little bit, but not that much, sadly. But yeah, make sure your email is professional. Ideally, it's like a Gmail, or maybe like a Yahoo, I guess. But if you're using like, I don't know, AOL or something, like, people make stereotypes about depending on the email service you use. So I would recommend Gmail is the most commonly used email service. And then once you create your account, so you are going to be logged into LinkedIn. So it's going to look like this. You're not going to have any of the stuff in the middle until you have a network or connections. So this is going to be blank in the middle for now for you all. And you can think of like LinkedIn is kind of, this is aging me probably a decade, but LinkedIn is like the Facebook for careers and professional. Um, so people will post, like news about their work, or companies will post different jobs or related like information or news about themselves. So you have your like just like any social media, you have your feed in the middle, and you can sort and do certain things with that. But yeah, so let's get into the actual creating. So if you click up here, a couple ways you can start editing. You can either click in here over on your name, or click in profile. Um, so first we're just gonna go into view profile. Now yours is gonna be blank for right now. Um, First, what I want you all to do is edit your public profile. So we're gonna click on top. Um, I want you also to make sure that your profile is public as well. Otherwise, I can't actually look at it. So to do that under visibility, you got to make sure this is on. Otherwise, I won't be able to see your actual profile. It's good to keep your profile public in general, um, just for networking opportunities, career opportunities. If you're really concerned about privacy, you can limit it to just people connected to you or just your network. Um, but yeah, I generally just keep mine public because people can even search you on Google and stuff like that. Or that you can even like go and what part you don't want to show to the public. So that's that. And then for your custom URL, this is like what is going to show on the URL at the top or what people can type in. I would recommend use your name. I was surprised I was able to get my full name. Yeah, I was able to get just my full name. So try that. If you have a common name, you might not be able to get that. You might need like a middle initial or play around with it. And then click save. Don't make it like super duper long. It's shorter the better. Um, yep. And then so that's how you edit like your visibility. Um, and then go. I want you all to go back to your profile. Now I'm going to talk about photos. You can have a cover photo, just like in social media. You can have like a cover photo. I don't personally. It's not necessary to have one as long as you have a headshot, but you can if you want to. Just make sure it's appropriate. Um, Now, headshot, you can change that by either just clicking in it, is probably the easiest way. Then you can edit. I would recommend not adding like a bunch of weird frames. Now, what is a professional headshot? Ideally, you're in business casual. Sorry, not business casual. Business appropriate dress. So for guys, that's like a dress shirt, maybe a suit even would look really good. For women, like a nice top, pants, skirt. Usually, it's going to be like just from the chest up, so you're not really going to see the bottom, as you can see from my profile picture, because you want it as close as possible to your head. Because if it's too far away, it's hard for people to see, like that it's actually you. Um, so make sure to edit that. Career Services sometimes does LinkedIn headshots, so they'll actually take your headshot. So definitely, like I'd recommend you make an appointment with them, and then they could do your headshot. Yeah, and it's always good. You can reuse it. Make sure your picture's not like super old. Like this one's kind of old. Mine is probably like 6 years, maybe, and probably more like 7 years. So probably would need to update this kind of soon. But yeah, don't use like a high school picture of you like from freshman year or something. Definitely no selfies. I see a lot of like selfies or like women doing the duck face, which I never understood the duck face, but the lips pouting out. But yeah, make sure it's this, you smiling, uh, looking straight at the camera. Um, yeah, so that's that. Um, and then in terms of the header here, let me show you what that looks like. So anytime you see a pencil button, that's going to be editing capability. So I'm going to click this pencil button. And for right now, you all are not going to have like acronyms after your name. This is if you have like a license or a higher degree than a bachelor's. You can put acronyms in there. And then pronouns, if you want to add pronouns, you can there. Now, the headline is going to default to your current position unless you change it. I think for now, in your current college career, if you're not seeking out like career opportunities, I would just keep it as your current position. But a lot of times you'll see people put general headlines that are more about their skills and their rewards. Um, so yeah, so I've seen things like digital strategic marketing expert, and then some like award that they got last year for some association for marketing. So like you'll see sometimes people will put just like a general, and this can be helpful if you're considering moving careers or if you're in a field where you jump around a lot, which a lot of like corporate business management fields, people move jobs frequently. So sometimes it's good to have like a more general one. For you all right now, I think it's okay just to have current position. But yeah, you can add your position here. Oops, I did not mean to click on that. Yeah, so that's, and I'll show you how to add more positions later. Um, Now, industry, this is like, oops, sorry about that. Sometimes it's a little sensitive. Um, so for you all, you can put like the industry you're currently in. Don't worry so much about this. But you could put like higher education, for example, if you just wanted you're in higher education technically because you're a student, but don't worry so much about that right now. And then education, this is going to be your current school, and then I'll show you later how to add more schools. This is kind of a quick way to add like education experience, but I'll show you the other way right now. And then location. Oh, I need to update that. I do not live in Palatine. And then contact info. I never include like an email address, but you can if you want to. But anybody can reach out to you via messaging on LinkedIn. So don't feel like you have to put your email, but you can if you want to. And then you're going to want to save all your stuff here. And I'm going to discard. All right, cool. And then you'll see like here, your current schools and your current job and your current education is going to show up top there. Um, yeah, and then let me show you all how to add sections. Um, so when you go down here, if you add sections, they're going to already have like the core basics. So you can click like add education here. And this is going to pull up your schools. And then you could put like College DuPage and your high school. Now for College DuPage, you want to make sure you're spelling DuPage DU capital P. I see a lot of people not capitalize a P. And then degree, if you're doing a transfer degree, you're doing an associate's in arts or associate's in science. This system doesn't have an applied science degree, like if you're doing automotive or welding or those ones. So for that one, just put associates. Oh yeah, arts and sciences. That one is AAS is technically applied science. I think the system is just weird and calls it arts and sciences, but you just put that because you are getting an AAS degree. What field you're doing, when you started at COD or in high school. Um, don't worry about GPA unless it's really high, like above a 3.5. Um, don't add activity societies here yet. There's another section later. I'll show you how to add that. You can add a description if you want. Usually people don't really add a description, but if you want to put like you have a concentration in medical sciences or kind of what your focus is of your degree. Yep. So I'm going to discard that. And then you're going to save that. Now let me show you. Position is going to be your work experience. So make sure you capitalize for your job title. So this has to be the official title. Make sure you capitalize each word in the title, whether you're full-time, part-time, what company you work for, location, are you currently in the job, and then start date, year, and then what industry. For a lot of you, whoops, this thing's so jumpy. A lot of you you're in like retail maybe or food service right now, so we can you can just put like retail or restaurants. Um, yeah, and then now description. This is where you're gonna copy and paste your bullet points from your resume, and you can literally just copy paste the whole section of your resume. Ideally, you want to keep it at 4 to 6 at most bullet points, and that's on your resume and on your LinkedIn. Um, just make sure the formatting doesn't look wonky, but it should just pull up and look fine automatically. Um, and then profile headline is just going to be like your title there. Um, Now you can add skills from here. This is going to be like the transferable skills we talked about previously. So you can add up to 5 top skills, and then these are going to show later in a skills section. So I'd recommend that. I'm going to discard this. Cool. You guys are not going to do career break unless you maybe had like a big career break, but um, you can also add skills this way. So through position, if you have other skills that were not like obtained in a job, you can add those there as well. Now, if you had other things, when we were looking at the LinkedIn profile checklist, there were a few other fields here that you might want to consider. So organizations, like if you're in any clubs or organizations, I wouldn't include high school unless it was very recent and you were like a president or something like that. Um, and then volunteer experience is another one that's common. I'll show you how to do that. And then honors awards, like if you got a scholarship or something like that. You can also add specific courses. Like let's say you're going into cybersecurity and you want to put that you have experience in Python language or C++. You can add like those classes in there. So to do that, you can either go to recommended, but typically additional is the easiest way. Um, so there's your volunteer, your honors awards, languages. I would only add a language if you're like semi proficient in it. Like, not like I took 1 year of Spanish and know how to say cerveza or something like that. Like, it has to be like somewhat conversational, or you can write it a little bit at least, or read it. So add that. And then any organizations, this is going to be more like if you want to connect to certain organizations, not like you volunteer there. But let me show you volunteer experience. So you can put the name of the organization, the role, when you've done it, so when you started and if you ended, and then you could just also again copy and paste from the resume a few bullet points for volunteer. Usually you don't want to have like a whole bunch of bullet points for volunteering unless you had a really significant role. But yeah, if you don't have a lot of work experience, definitely try to rely on some volunteer experience if you have those in your past, because that can look really good too. So yeah, there's that. And then there's a couple other sections I wanted to show you all. So your experience is that's gonna be the first one that shows up. So that's all. This is how it looks when you like copy paste. So for example, like this one, you see I just copy pasted all my education experience here. Yeah, so that's how it looks from there. This is how the education looks under here. And then that's where the volunteering is going to be. And then skills here. The nice part about skills is that if you have skills that you listed in your position or additional skills, people can endorse you. So, for example, this one, like the younger 18-year-old me would be very surprised that public speaking, I've been endorsed by a bunch of people, because public speaking was probably one of my biggest fears. And I actually dropped speech class in college when I found out I didn't have to take it. But I've came a long way. So, but yeah, you can endorse like your classmates and your friends and your connections. And then it shows up here, which is nice for employers or people that want to see like things that you're strong in. Um, yeah, and then interest groups are going to be in the bottom here. Now, one other tool, let's say you want to learn more about cybersecurity and you want to talk to somebody in the industry, and you want to look at alumni. So, whenever you're networking, it's best not to be completely cold messaging or calling people. it's better to have some type of connection. So let's say the connection is you both went to College of DuPage, even if you don't know them, and even if they went a long time ago. Um, you can search College of DuPage and then view the page, and then you can look at alumni over here, and you can type in keywords. So if I were to type in cybersecurity right there, so I have 604 alumni that have the word cybersecurity in their typically in their title. It will sometimes pull it if it's in like the bullet points or like the job description, but this is a good way. Like, so I have connection to 3 people, to this Mohammed guy. So let's say I wanted to connect with him and find out more about the industry. Like, oh, you went to IIT? I'm thinking of going to IIT for cybersecurity. Let me reach out to him and like find out about the program. Or let's say you're interviewing for a job at Amazon Web Services. You can click on this and it'll pull up all the people from COD alumni that work at Amazon. You can reach out to them. Hey, you always want to say like you're a current College Page student, or if you're alumni at that point, like, hey, I noticed you worked at Amazon. Like, I'm about to interview there. Can I ask you a few questions? Some people are gonna ignore you completely, or I personally don't use LinkedIn that much, and I get a lot of messages and stuff that I don't pay that much attention to. But in a lot of industries, they use it pretty heavily, and some people will be happy to respond to you and take some time and walk you through that. So you can also look up jobs here for like a certain company. So for College Page, for example, or up top here, for jobs. And this is where your messaging is going to be up here. Yeah, and so definitely I'd recommend add your connections. You can add your professors. You may need to be more specific in your search. So you see there's a lot of Devin Chambers. So you might need to see like who is it actually. And you could narrow it down like Devin Chambers College Page, or Devin Chambers whatever like you're being specific about. Yeah, and then you want to definitely consider adding me, adding your other professors, other connections, just to stay on top of things. And then once you do that, your feed will populate up here. You could also post just like a social media post. You can post on here as well. So that is your LinkedIn. I hope that was helpful. Again, go back to like the student checklist if you forgot what I said in the entire video, or this video was kind of long, so I totally understand if you tuned out. But yeah, go back in here and yeah, see step by step what you need to do. Well, thank you all and have a good day.